So it's called partial design simulation. And what it allows you to do is take a board that you've created entirely, and it might have all the contents that you need for schematic simulation and also to go off to the board. But oftentimes on those boards, you have too many parts, many of which you don't really want to simulate in PSpice. So what you can do with partial design simulation is you can say I have a portion of this circuit that I do want to simulate, and the remaining bits of it I am not interested in simulating. And you can accomplish that now in 16.6 with just a capture and PSpice license using a test bench. Let me show you what that looks like really quickly. I'm going to show you a very simple example. You can do more than just this with test benches, but this should hopefully give us a start. So let's run a simulation here of our circuit, and this should work fine, just like it did before. There we go. Everything is looking good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mess this up by adding some resistors. So I'm going to put a resistor in here. I'll grab the analog library, and I'm going to just place a regular PSpice resistor in here. Now the problem that's going to create for me is that it's going to have parts now that are not connected to the main portion of the simulation, and PSpice really has a problem with this. But this is a very typical problem for people that have their entire design created in one capture design and they only want to simulate a portion. So this would be the portion that they want to simulate right here. And here's some other circuitry out here that's going to be doing something useful for the printed circuit board. But as far as simulation, I'm not interested in simulating it. So without test benches, if you simulate this, if I hit run here, I'm going to get an error saying that there's a bunch of parts that are not connected. You got to check those out and get rid of those, or connect them, or attach models to them, or something. But in my case, I'm just not interested in those. I want to keep them for the board, but I don't want to simulate them. The way you can accomplish that is by creating a new test bench. So let's create a test bench. It's going to save the design for me, and I'm going to call this web demo design. Okay, so there's my web demo design test bench, which is based off that original design. I'm going to open this up, take a look at it, and in here I can see some shading. So this gray color is indicating to me that these parts are not added. These parts also have that same color. What I want to do is I want to say bring these parts into the test bench, so make them available. I'm going to select them, go to test bench, and hit add parts to self. So what that's going to do is it changes their color, but it also makes them available in this test bench for me. I'm going to create a new simulation profile called transient. And in this profile, I'll make it 5 microseconds like I did my last one. And I'm going to then go ahead and simulate this. So now simulating this, my hope is that I get results, and it appears that I do. I'm just going to put a probe on here and verify that I do indeed now get results out of this simulation, even though there's additional parts on here that aren't connected or ready to use in PSpice, but they're not a problem because they're not part of this test bench. So by doing a test bench, you can have a main design and a portion of it that is not simulated. So that's how you can use test benches. You can have multiple test benches per design, and you can do a lot of neat stuff with test benches, like compare them against each other and verify that they're the same.